Hello, welcome to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. I'm Juliet, the daughter.
And I'm Kevin the dad.
And this week we are concluding our Chuck Berry coverage. You know who he is. We don't need any more information, so let's get down to it with the final installment.
Oh, yes, let's.
And we're starting off with sort of a throwback with Bye Bye Johnny. The day has come where Johnny B. Goode has gotten so big he's leaving home for Hollywood. You just hope and pray his movie career isn't like Elvis's and more like Frank Sinatra's or Bowie's. And his mom is so proud she's crying, but she'll soon join Johnny once he has more money. Here's what I want to know, though. Is this a musical rebuttal to Johnny B. Goode? Or rather, were fans begging Chuck for a sequel that he eventually got fed up with it and went, you know what, here, and then wrote a song where we're bidding him farewell, never to be heard from again? Just goes to show that even rockers can't escape the sequel curse, or people wanting them to do their biggest hit all over again. I feel like this is a song we don't need.
Oh, I disagree.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what the show's for.
I mean, I think with Bye Bye Johnny, it seems that this time around, Chuck is really embracing the Elvis Presley story that people inferred with Johnny B. Goode. And here's the thing, Bye Bye Johnny was recorded in March of 1960, the same month that Elvis was honorably discharged from the Army after serving a 2-year stint. E then went to Hollywood, and get this, cranked out 2 films a year from 1960 to 1964, and from 1965 to 1969, he cranked out 3 a year.
And only one of them was good, the first one he ever did.
Well, no, that was even, he did a couple of movies even before he went into the service.
Oh, okay.
His first one was in 1956.
Okay.
And I believe it was called Love Me Tender. It was supposed to be called something else, I can't remember, but they changed it to Love Me Tender to cash in on the hit song of the same name.
They were smart that way.
So anyway, his last plotted movie, if you want to call that, because he did 2 concert documentaries after that.
Yeah.
His last one came out in 1969. It was called Change of Habit, co-starring Mary Tyler Moore.
Really?
As a nun.
Oh, that's the movie where she plays a nun. Is it any good?
Oh.
All right.
Because, he cranked out 27 of these craptaculars in that period. And I just look at it as like so much talent wasted. I mean, there was a point where he just hated some of the songs that he had to sing.
And if you watch the Elvis movie, he says, I want to be the next great actor. I want to be the next James Dean. And he did this one Western movie, and people gave him really good reviews, but audiences just wanted him singing and dancing all the time and not doing anything serious because, God forbid someone be multifaceted at something. Sorry, Elvis.
So anyway, Chuck sings about how Johnny's mother drew all her money out of the Southern Trust to put him on a Greyhound bus from Louisiana to California, where he'd make pictures out in Hollywood. She recalls how she took money from gathering crop to buy Johnny a guitar. And Elvis's parents did buy him a guitar for his birthday when he was 10 years old. Allegedly, he was hoping for either a bicycle or a rifle.
And then he gets, happy birthday, son, here's a guitar. Oh, thanks.
It's like a remote. Johnny's mom gets a letter from Johnny, obviously, saying that he fell in love and was getting married and was going to build a mansion near the tracks. Now, Elvis did meet Priscilla in 1959 while stationed in Germany. He was 24. She was 14. But they married in 1967, where I guess it was legal by then. And by the way, Elvis did not build, but he did buy Graceland in 1957. Musically it's Johnny B. Goode, slowed down just a little bit, and I think everyone is driving this song hard, and it's just a tad over 2 minutes, but Bye Bye Johnny, I think, is just a great sequel.
Next track, Jaguar and Thunderbird. Did Chuck invent rap? It's a question.
No, but it kind of sounds like...
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
The chorus is insanely catchy. A jaguar and a thunderbird are going to race across the state line, but some snitch gets wind of this and tips off the cops. Thanks, jerk. Luckily, the cops never catch up. Is this a song I'd listen to all the time? I don't know. I could listen to the chorus a bunch, but I'd get sick of it eventually. And I don't know if I'd listen to Chuck's rapping either. Love the story. Maybe the format isn't one for me, though. And it reminds me of that scene in Grease where they do, the racing of the cars towards the end of the movie. But this is probably better than that race.
Oh, okay. So this is a pretty short song. It only clocks in at 1 minute 52 seconds. And it's a simple story. A jaguar and a thunderbird race each other in Newtonville, Indiana. And I gotta say, before I looked at the lyrics, I always thought Chuck was singing Coupe de Ville instead of Newtonville. I thought,
Oh,
Coupe de
whoops.
Ville, that's a cool name for a town, but no, Newtonville. I mean, there's a Newtonville in Mass. And I kind of like my version better. So yeah, Stooley tells the sheriff about the race, and the sheriff tries to catch the cars. And the neat thing about this song is you don't know which car won. It just ends, sheriff's front bumper was a yard behind when the T-Bird Jaguar crossed the line. But he doesn't say which one was first, so it'll always be a mystery. And I guess depending on what kind of car you like, that's the one that won.
Next track, Confessing the Blues.
Oh, Down the Road a Piece?
Down the Road a Piece. Sorry, I misread the wrong one. Down the Road a Piece. This is a great tourist song. Like for a diner or a dive that would be playing this on their radio at a tourist spot. Come have some great food and hear some great music. It sounds like Chuck is making a commercial without making a commercial, like the Back in the USA song. But the 50s commercial-esque songs are not my favorite on here, per se. I mean, we'll get into that later. They sound too polished for Chuck, and I want to get back to that groove and rock and roll.
Okay. Don Ray wrote this in 1940, and the Will Bradley Trio recorded it the same year. Henry Mancini said Down the Road a Piece inspired his song Baby Elephant Walk. Now, did you get
Yes,
that?
I did.
Okay.
And I thought that song was fun and cute.
Yeah, so having listened to both songs, I can kind of hear it. I mean, it's not overt, but it's in there. So Chuck changed some of the words, but Don Ray still got the songwriting credit. And it's just 2 verses with the second verse repeated. There's a place down the road a piece where the band plays boogie and they serve, get this, chicken fried in bacon grease. I want some of that.
Well,
that sounds good.
We saw that once at Uncle Michael's house in Seattle, a documentary about someone who made country fried bacon and served it with gravy. And this woman bites into it and goes, "It's good, just needs more salt." Which,
I kind of remember that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah, this is chicken, and it's fried in bacon grease. That just sounds really good. I mean, and, you know, it's a good song. And again, not everything can be roll over Beethoven, but just chicken fried in bacon grease. Oh, by the way,
yes,
I want Baby Elephant Walk played at my funeral,
that was a comment under the video, yep.
and you need to make sure that happens. I came up with that and that song Yakety Sax, which you hear on Benny Hill.
Oh, yeah.
And the other one is Entrance of the Gladiators.
Okay.
You know the circus music?
Yeah,
But the
well,
thing is, if you
yeah.
hear a symphony doing that, it sounds completely different. I found one where they did it, and they were
So-
showing all these clips of different armies marching, and you really don't think of the circus.
So do you want the symphony recording at your funeral or the original
Oh,
one?
the Calliope one.
All right, well, we've got this on recording, so if any nosy relative disputes this claim, I can just play this episode and be like, Exhibit A, Dad wanted this.
I should get all my death wishes in writing.
Yeah, or voice recording, that way it's
Not like the Charles Bronson death wish, but
oh, God.
yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, now you can confess the blues.
okay, so Chuck is on his hands and knees begging for this woman's love, and while the music is excellent, particularly the solo where the electric guitar plays it over and over, there's something about the tone that's a little too happy for a guy on his knees and begging. Maybe it's because the love makes him happy, even though he's praying that it'll all work out. It's a confessional, but he doesn't sound as blue as the title would make out. As for the Jay McShann version, oh, I love it so much, more than Chuck's. Sorry, Chuck.
Yeah, this was the song Chuck played at the high school talent show back in 1941, which I think we referred to way back in
our previous
in
episodes.
episode 1. And yeah, it was written and performed by Jay McShann in 1941. And the original is definitely bluesier and less frantic than Chuck's, and I also like it better. And Chuck's version isn't bad, though. I mean, I like his version too, but that original can't be beat. And I came across the original, and I have the original. I saw this compilation, the CD compilation. There was an import at Seekonk Library called Confessing the Blues. And it was curated by the Rolling Stones. It
Oh.
was just all these songs that influenced them when they were just starting out. And this was one of them.
Next track. I'm talking about you.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, me?
Yeah,
All I
you.
could think of was Taxi Driver.
This is a song for those of us who can't take the hint at all. Chuck is singing this song about a girl he loves who's so pretty and she should be in Hollywood, and guess what? It's the girl he's talking to. And the music conveys a cute dance for joy. It ends with a proposal for marriage. Yet again, I'm not bowled over by this one, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is an okay song. And the only thing that really stands out is Reggie Boyd's bass playing when he's like, do 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 do.
Which is
Okay, I
cool.
can't do it exactly, but yeah, he gets that in there.
You get the
And
idea.
this is an okay song, and I don't think Beethoven would have rolled over for this.
No, he would have rolled over for roll over Beethoven.
And the thing is, like with some of these songs, it's like he's kind of getting ready to go to prison, and it's kind of, okay, let me just crank out some stuff.
We gotta
and
get an album out
get some
there.
product before, before I gotta go.
Next track, Come On.
Come on.
Ever since Chuck's girl dumped him, his life has gotten worse. Got laid off, car doesn't work, and some idiot keeps calling his house with the wrong number, which I know would drive you and me up a tree. He just wants someone to put him out of his misery so his life isn't miserable anymore, and so he doesn't have to think about her anymore. Sounds like he's got it bad, so I say, good luck. But poor Chuck, this sounds like a cry for help, albeit a tired one. I enjoyed how he told the story and also that little solo at the beginning. That was fun.
Yeah, this was one of Chuck's last songs he recorded before serving time for the Mann Act violation. And it's a really, really good song. And like you said, everything's wrong with Chuck since his baby left him. And he don't mean maybe. The phone rings, but it's some stupid jerk trying to reach another number. Is stupid jerk kind of a redundant phrase? Like, isn't someone a jerk already stupid? Or
No,
a
jerk-
jerk be like, an a-hole?
Jerk is more a-hole, because you can have someone who's smart, but they're still a jerk.
Stupid idiot would be more
Yes,
redundant.
yes.
Okay. All right. And did you notice that the guitar has a staticky sound?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you listen real closely, it gets kind of broken up, like maybe from some dial being turned up to 11, or just a lousy speaker. It does get a little fuzzy. And I remember reading in some CD versions, they had a note saying, this isn't the CD. The CD's fine. This is how the song was recorded, and this is how it sounds.
It's part of
There
its
was
charm.
nothing wrong with your player.
Yeah.
And that's Chuck's sister Martha on the chorus vocals.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
She's pretty good.
And the Rolling Stone, did I send you the Rolling Stones version?
Nope.
Oh, sorry. They did a decent bluesy version of Come On, and it was their debut single
Oh, wow.
back in 1963. And it's, when they get to the Come On part, it's Mick and I think Keith. And I don't know if Mick's voice is double tracked because there's also a third falsetto voice singing Come On. Maybe it was Brian. I have no idea. But they did a pretty good job of it.
Next track, Nadine. Is it you? Okay, I'm gonna make a statement.
Go ahead.
This song walked so every breath you take could run.
Okay. Details?
Okay, and musically, it sounds like Strychnine by the Sonics. I thought I had the wrong song on it first.
Oh, I can definitely hear that.
Yep, okay. So Chuck sees this woman while riding the bus and goes full Pepe Le Pew on her ass, only with the Roadrunner speed.
Beep, beep.
This song had my favorite groove, probably because it reminded me of another song I like, but poor Nadine. Something tells me she's going to get chased to the point there's going to be a car going over a cliff like Thelma and Louise.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was released in February of 1964. So it was Chuck's first post-prison single. He served time from February 1962 to October 1963. And musically, this is kind of like a slowed-down version of Maybelline, which Chuck admitted. But this time, instead of chasing the woman in a car, he's chasing the woman in a cab. So instead of driving himself, obviously. But first he sees Nadine walking down the street while he's on the bus. He gets off the bus only to see her walking toward a coffee-colored Cadillac, which maybe existed at the time. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
He tries pushing through the crowd to get to her, but now she's in the cab, so Chuck gets in one that's loaded. He pays for everyone's fares and flips the driver a 20 to follow the other cab. But does he ever catch her? Part of the chorus pretty much seems to sum up things, where he sings, seems like every time I catch up with you, you're up to something new. So she's always like one step ahead of him.
Yep.
Like, can't catch me, I'm the...
Gingerbread Man.
Yeah, yeah. And this song always reminds me of this woman I used to work with at Blue Cross named Nadine. She was the receptionist for corporate accounting.
Next track.
And
Oops, sorry.
Oh, so I got one more thing to say.
Yep.
This is the first song that we encounter on this collection that's in stereo.
Oh, okay.
And it sounds great. And I like that Chuck manages to cram a lot of words into each line of the verses. A classic.
Next track. You Never Can Tell.
I never can tell.
The chorus of this song is one of the catchiest. C'est la vie, c'est the yo, folks goes to show you never can tell. There's a teenage wedding, and so far things for the monsieur and madame seem to be going well. I appreciate how Chuck called her mademoiselle until she got married. And so far they seem to be living a simple life, which as Uncle Ira would remind us there's no shame in. Catchy as heck chorus, okay story. As for the dance scene in Pulp Fiction, which I'd seen the movie before, fun fact, Quentin Tarantino had Uma Thurman model her dancing after Duchess and the Aristocats during the Everybody Wants to Be a Cat number. You know, she's like got that thing with her hands going from side to side, and she's twisting.
Well,
yeah, just
I
that
did
part,
not know
though.
that.
Yeah. And if you could find a clip where he's talking more about how he choreographed that dance on the Graham Norton show, if you're ever interested.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I love this song. I absolutely love it. It's possibly my favorite Chuck Berry song.
Did you first hear it in Pulp Fiction or before that?
That's a good question. I'm really not sure.
Okay.
I don't know. The band sounds great, and Johnny Johnson's piano hook is unforgettable, and he gets to solo rather than Chuck. And when you hear him play, you realize he's probably only one of the few musicians to challenge Chuck on record and possibly when they played live.
Which isn't easy.
Probably why Chuck decided to get a bunch of yes men who were going to play. Yeah, so the old folks watch a teenage couple get married, set up house, and celebrate their anniversary, all the while acting like a Greek chorus saying, "C'est la vie, it goes to show you never can tell." And I love the little details that are in this song. How they furnished the apartment with a 2-room Roebuck sale, which that's a nod to Sears for you youngins. They were Sears and Roebuck and Company.
Oh, okay.
And how the coolerator is crammed with TV dinners and ginger ale. And I thought Chuck had invented the word coolerator, but I did a search, and it turns out that that was a refrigerator company in Duluth, Minnesota.
Oh.
And the fridges are collector's items if you're into that sort of thing. You can find vintage ones on eBay.
Vintage fridges are so much better than new
if
fridges.
you're so inclined, and some of them might even work. And I appreciate how Chuck sings ginger ale, because to this day, I pronounce my favorite soft drink as ginger ale. Almost like one word.
Yeah.
I guess that's my Rhode Island accent. I'm not sure. Anyway, as you mentioned, You Never Can Tell got a new life in 1994 when it was used in Pulp Fiction. And it's obviously the song that Uma Thurman and John Travolta danced to at Jackrabbit Slim's for the Twist contest. And John Travolta is great, but Uma Thurman is even better with her moves. And I didn't realize that thing about how Quentin Tarantino wanted her to do some of the Aristocats moves.
Watch that video. It's very interesting when he explains what went into that.
I'd like to think that she came up with the rest of them on her own. And I've never gotten tired of this song, and I never get tired of that scene. And fun fact, when I was out in Culver City, California, to be on Jeopardy, I went into this restaurant for breakfast, and it just reminded me of Jackrabbit Slim's. It just had this look about it. And
Did you get Buddy Holly for a waiter?
no, it wasn't that much of a theme. The place looked like it, but they didn't have people dressed up as
50 stars.
Now you know who dressed up as Buddy Holly, right?
No, who was it?
Steve Buscemi.
That was him?
I'm Buddy, I'm your waiter. Yes,
I didn't recognize him.
fellow kids.
Okay, how do you do, fellow kids?
It just had that look to it. That was all I could think of when I was in the place. I wish I could remember the name of it, but all I know is it's in Culver City, California.
Okay, next track, Promised Land. This feels like Chuck is trying to redo Back in the USA, and honestly, I like Back in the USA better, even though it sounds like an airplane ad. What was cool about this track, though, is when I looked it up, I got to see a clip of Chuck performing this live, and boy, was that man handsome in black and white with a suit and tie. Ooh, mama, this song was worth it just for that. He could perform.
Where'd you find this, on YouTube?
On YouTube, yeah. Someone took the recorded version of this song, and they were able to sync it up to Chuck Berry's live performance so that he was like pretty much mouthing along to the words.
Interesting.
It was really cool to see. Yeah.
So Chuck wrote this song while in prison, and he used an atlas to plot out the journey from Norfolk, Virginia to Los Angeles, California, the promised land of the title. He takes a Greyhound bus to get there, and he sings how they stopped in Charlotte but bypassed Rock Hill, which in February 1961, Rock Hill, South Carolina, was where 9 black men staged a lunch counter sit-in at a McCrory's Five and Dime and were arrested. And later, in 1961, 13 Freedom Riders stopped at Rock Hill to test the Supreme Court ruling outlawing racial segregation. And I believe John Lewis was one of those 13.
Yes, he was.
So Chuck knew very well of what he wrote. And yeah, we were definitely going to bypass Rock Hill.
Yep.
Anyway, the bus breaks down in Birmingham, Alabama.
Boy.
So Chuck gets a train ticket, gets down to Houston, and flies out from there. And he's working on a T-bone a la carte steak flying over the Golden Gate. those days are long gone. I bet you they had linen and real utensils, not sporks and plasticware.
When you go to London and you fly back from Heathrow, the dinner service is amazing.
Really?
Nothing like European dinner service on a plane. Oh my God, it's so good. Of course, the utensils are still plastic.
Sporktacular.
Sporktacular, yeah.
Yeah. This song is absolutely propulsive, and I look at it as another classic. And Bruce Springsteen did a song called Promised Land, but it was something different. He tended to do that with some of Chuck's songs. Downtown Train, Promised Land. He did Mansion on the Hill, but that's a Hank Williams title. Anyway, next.
No particular place to go. Okay, I found a lyric video for this, and it was weird, because during the instrumental, you know what came up on the screen? 2 animated twerking cats. One from Animal Crossing and another that I couldn't tell what it was from. But this song is so sweet and simple and horny. It's sweet and simple at first because Chuck tells his girl how she feels and she reciprocates. So they're driving along with no place to go. But as Chuck gets horny, the damn safety belt won't unfasten and he's pissed. I love this song for the story arc. 10 out of 10, no notes.
It's definitely another classic. And, so what if it's school days with different words? No big deal.
I don't care.
Yeah, this time Chuck is riding around with his baby and he steals a kiss, his curiosity running wild. Then they start to cuddle. Then it's time to get down to business. But then she's stuck in one of those newfangled safety belts. They had just become a feature. And Chuck cannot get it loose, and he holds a grudge on the way home for that safety belt. And all I can think is, safety belt. Yeah, right. Well, like chastity belt.
That's what I
probably.
thought,
Yeah, there you go. Best line, riding along in my calaboose.
Calaboose?
Yes.
Yes.
I have no idea what that word is. I'm sure Chuck invented it, but it is perfect.
Yeah?
Cadillac caboose?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But yeah, you can just hear the frustration in his voice.
Oh, yes, you can.
Why won't that belt come off?
Next track. Dear Dad, Chuck is asking his dad for a car because the Ford he drives is a piece of crap. He's worried about his safety and he's plugging everything he can to get his hands on just to keep it from biting the dust. Then the ending happens, and the ending is what makes this song worth it. Dad and I have agreed not to give it away because you gotta listen to it for yourself. Hilarious.
Now, I first heard Dave Edmunds' cover on his DE 7th album, and he does a really good job. And basically, the song is a letter from a son to his dad. Will he please buy son a new car? The Ford that he drives is a mess. So many troubles. He gets ticketed for driving too slow, which can be a hazard.
Yep.
Just as bad as driving too fast.
Yep.
He has 4 carburetors hooked up to it, and he wants to hook up a 5th carburetor, but he would probably have to perforate the hood. So he says, how about a 62 or 63 Cadillac, please? And the payoff is definitely the song's very last line, which we are not giving away because you need to hear this. It is absolutely hilarious.
Next track. I want to be your driver. Oh, he's horny. You know how I know? He says you're a better rider than one of his cars, and that's saying something considering how he loves those.
Makes the Beatles Drive My Car look very polite.
Yes. If someone played this for me, I'd be intrigued. This isn't exactly rip-roaring for Chuck, but there's no restraint either, and to hear him singing at the top of his range to convey his passion is wonderful. Love this song.
And it's obvious from the way Chuck sings this song that he does not want to drive the lady's car, but possibly the lady herself. And I gotta say, I'm surprised he got away with this one back then. It's definitely dirty-minded, borderline filthy. I rode all around the mountains, right down in the valley. Must be 18 or over to even listen to this song. A great, lurid classic.
And there's nothing wrong with lurid songs sometimes. They're fun. Next track, Tulane. Tulane and Johnny, not that Johnny, but maybe, I don't know. They're at work one day when the cops show up and Johnny tells Tulane to run. Get the doctor to make an alibi, get the stuff, and get your dad. That way we can get the bail money. These guys have a plan. Another song where I can remember singing along to the chorus. Even if you don't like all of Chuck Berry's songs, you gotta admit the guy's a great storyteller.
He is. He is, yep. This is from December 1969. Now, the thing is, Chuck had been with Mercury Records for the past 3 years, and nothing happened with them, so he went back to Chess. And this eventually was released on a 1970 album called Back Home. So Tulane and Johnny opened a novelty shop, which was basically a head shop. And the cream of the crop was marijuana under the counter. But since marijuana is pretty much legal almost everywhere in the U.S., I guess these days Tulane and Johnny would have had to open up a meth lab. Anyway, the cops show up, and Johnny couldn't quite clear the counter when he jumped, and he got nabbed.
But Tulane did.
Yeah, and as she's leaving, Johnny apparently has enough time to yell out a laundry list of instructions, even though the cops probably have him pinned to the ground and thinking, okay, try and remember all this stuff because this is what we got to do next.
In real life, they would have muffled his mouth and probably choked him to death, unfortunately.
Probably. But I bet Tulane said, screw all that and went her own way. Good for her.
If she did, then she's the most loyal woman on the face of the earth.
If she did all the instructions?
Yes.
And if she didn't, she probably was like, guy, I can't be bothered.
It's not worth this.
It's just not. And the credits list unknown personnel as the musicians. And this song kind of has a laid-back feel to it, despite Johnny's urgent requests. And I say, yes, another classic.
Next track, My Ding-a-Ling.
Oh, boy.
I love this song so much. Screw Dave Barry. I think what I liked about it when I was a kid was the call and response with the men and women in the audience. And at that age, I thought he was talking about bells on a string. 10 years later, I thought, nah, he can't be talking about his penis, can he? Well, he is. And I love dirty humor and good fun. And Chuck is having a ball with the audience, giving shout-outs to the girls singing in harmony and the guys singing the first part of the chorus. Because as he says, it's a free country, you can do what you want. The only thing he doesn't like is if you don't sing along, because then he'll call you out, because after all, if you're not singing, you must be playing with your own ding-a-ling. I love this song, and I will never apologize for loving it. It's just so fun.
Okay.
I love the live recording.
Okay, all right.
I feel like I'm at a show.
All right, well, yep, so it made Dave Barry's book, and guess what? It was also voted #1 worst rock and roll record in a hilarious book I have called The Worst Rock and Roll Records of All Time. And I gotta say, just as an aside, that book needs to be updated to include Crud by Matchbox 20, Bush, Maroon 5, and that's just for starters.
Yep.
So guys, if you're out there and you feel like going through more agony, please update this book. Anyway, Dave Bartholomew wrote and recorded it in 1952. He would go on to be Fats Domino's producer and write even more great rock and roll songs.
Have you listened to that one? I know you didn't send it to me.
No, I didn't. Sorry, everyone. I just didn't. He did remake it, calling it Little Girl Sing a Ting-a-Ling.
No.
And in 1954, the Bees recorded a version called Toy Bell.
The Bees?
The Bees.
Wow.
Now get this. This is even better. Doug Clark and the Hot Nuts recorded a version in 1961. And I guess they were a rock and roll band and also a novelty band. And then they finally got to the point where they just called themselves Doug Clark's Hot Nuts. Anyway, and I probably should have listened to that one too. Now, here's the thing. Chuck recorded a version in 1968 called My Tambourine.
Oh, okay.
My Tambourine. My Tambourine. Which kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
And in 1972, he recorded this live version. Now, the single edit is 4 minutes and 18 seconds. Did I send you the complete version?
You didn't send me any version.
Oh,
I
sorry.
just went to the first one that was on Spotify. Here's what I did. I Googled the lyrics for this, and then I found the recording that matched the lyrics that came up on Google. And that was about maybe 4 minutes. Yeah, I listened to that one.
The complete version is 11 and a half minutes.
Which one do you have?
I have the single edit, but I went online to listen to the whole damn thing.
There's a 10-minute one on YouTube, but I don't know if it's the same version that you listened to.
There are kind of different versions, but I listened to another one, or most of another one, and he pretty much has the stage padded down to a science. He really does. Anyway, Chuck spends 5 minutes introducing it as a 4th grade ditty that he learned in 5th grade because he was a little behind. That's what, and he even says that. His spiel goes kind of downhill from there. Then he goes on to teach the boys and girls their parts to sing. And like I said, I listened to all 11 and a half minutes and found out there was some verses left out of the single.
Oh, really?
Because I guess they were just way too suggestive for radio.
Oh, okay.
Now, the ones that did make it, the first verse is harmless, where Chuck sings about a toy his grandmother brought him. Silver bells hanging on a string. She told him it was...
My ding-a-ling.
Yes. And every verse after that is double entendre. Chuck gets caught playing with his dingling at Sunday school. He climbs a garden wall, slips, but holds on to his dingling.
He's swimming and protecting
Turtle
the snapping
Creek,
turtles.
because he has to swim across with both hands, so I imagine he's doing like some intense frog kicks. And he admonishes those in the audience who will not sing.
Because if you're not, then you're playing with your ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Yeah, so there's just no escape no matter how hard you try. Now, the thing is, some stations refused to play the song when it first came out in 72.
Oh, wow.
Now, get this.
Yes.
Some stations did not play it in 2008.
Really?
When an episode of American Top 40 from 1972 was rebroadcast on Clear Channel stations. Because some, I guess they're just still paranoid about, the FCC bringing down the hammer. Anyway, critics hate this song. Musicians hate this song. And I think it's because this was Chuck's only number one. Not Roll Over Beethoven, not rock and roll music,
okay.
not Johnny Be Good, but
My Ding-a-ling.
this. And the man deserves better. And if you want to dive deeper, R.J. Smith wrote a whole chapter on My Ding-a-ling in his book, Chuck Berry and American Life. And it was just fascinating because there was some sort of, I think it was a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame tribute. And one of the musicians said, okay, we've got to face My Ding-a-ling. And some of the musicians going, oh, no, not that. Yes. So, as for me, this song has never really bothered me. And I think, it'd be nice if one of his other songs had made it to number one instead. But it's not like this is sort of like a deal breaker for me. It's cute. It's not his greatest thing in the world, but, it did get the man his first and only number one.
Next track, Reelin' and Rockin' live. I love this live version much more than the studio version. Chuck just brings it so much more energy, and he goes hour by hour in this recording. And it's more adult with the subject matter. Reelin' and Rockin' in this case means reelin' and rockin' in bed as opposed to the dance floor. Bed, of course, that iconic lyric about wiping it on the wall. And he doesn't sing the chorus, he just jams, and it's like a big dance party. Way better than the original, in my opinion. So dirty, and I love it.
No, you. This is a live version from the same concert that gave us My Ding-a-ling. This is from the London Chuck Berry sessions, where he went to London and recorded some studio tracks, but there weren't enough to fill out the whole record, so they tacked on some live stuff. This version is more salacious than the original we covered way back in part one. Chuck starts by telling the audience, I got a chance to sing one. I might be able to sing this one, too. And then it's, looked at my watch, it was 1:45. She said she didn't, but I knew she do. And then at 3, she needs a Coca-Cola, please. At 4, she turns around and tells Chuck, baby, do it some more. At 5, he feels more dead than alive. At 6, he finally got it fixed. At 7, obviously, that rhymes with heaven. At 8, she made a move that made Chuck stretch out straight. And at 9, she says, ooh, Chuck, baby, this sure feel fine. At 10, he has to do it again. And at 11:30, she turned back and called him something dirty because not a whole hell of a lot rhymes with 11. And at 12, they started digging like an old steam shovel, which almost rhymes, but the way he sings it, though, he can make shovel rhyme with 12, and I can respect him for that. And then, yes, we boogied in the kitchen, we boogied in the hall. I got some on my finger, so I wiped it on the wall. That's just nasty.
Yeah.
That's just really nasty.
Couldn't even wipe it on a paper towel.
I don't even want to know what it was. And since it's live, the band is pretty perfunctory. Chuck wasn't going to let any of them mess around because he got rip-roaring mad if you tried to play it like, it sounded on the record. This not quite so bad mess clocks in at 7 minutes and 5 seconds, so it is the longest song on this collection.
Easily.
But I can't see how you could edit it down.
Final track, Bio. This is a great closer for the album. Chuck gives us the condensed version of his life story, which can you imagine having V. Muddy Waters as a mentor? Like, for crying out loud, wow. And the ending is very sweet. Chuck states all he wanted was to use his music to make other people happy. And until he sees us on the road again, good luck to you. A very happy, meaningful closing number he sings with his whole heart.
Yep, Chuck lays it all out on this one, how he got started, how Muddy Waters showed him the way. Muddy Waters was the one who told him, go see Leonard Chess, because Muddy Waters also recorded for Chess Records as well. And yeah, he does sing about how it's the only thing he knows how to do, which, luckily he figured that out. It's like, when I was reading the first volume of that 3-volume Beatles biography, they all kind of realized this is all we really know how to do. I mean, George was going to learn how to be an electrician, and then, all the other ones had jobs here and there, but you kind of realized, no, this is what we were meant to do. And I think in Chuck's case, he knew it was the only thing he knew how to do, and thank God he knew it because just great stuff. And I thought the interesting line was about his first song. We know it was Maybelline, but he doesn't name it. But he says, it netted $10,000 and added glory to my name. And with Chuck, it just always came down to money. You could give him awards, enshrine him in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and tell him, oh, you were such an influence on me. But it just all came down to the greenbacks. That was success to him. And that's what mattered. And I think it's because having lots of money is definitely a form of freedom. And it let Chuck do what he wanted up to a point in certain situations.
Yes.
And the band is okay. I mean, no one's challenging Chuck the way that Johnny Johnson would have. And I think, again, maybe it was from like playing all, with all those pickup bands and live, that it was just, he wanted to be the one who was going to rule the roost. He didn't want to be challenged by anyone musically. And that's what we got.
Overall, if you love rock music, Chuck Berry is the god you must pay homage to at least once in your lifetime. Otherwise, and I'm going to throw down the gauntlet here, you're not a true fan. Yes, I said it. I hate to use that phrase, but in this case, it's true. I'm surprised how many songs I added to my playlist, but when I liked his stuff, I really liked his stuff.
Oh, good. Yep, and there you have it. Chuck Berry The Anthology, or Chuck Berry Gold, as it's known now these days, is absolutely essential. If you truly love rock and roll, you need this collection. You need it. And sometimes I don't think it gets any better than this. It just doesn't. I think, call me an old fart, but I think that first generation rock and roll just cannot beat. I mean, you got Chuck, Little Richard, Jerry Lee, Fats Domino,
Elvis, Carl Perkins,
the Everly Brothers, Carl Perkins.
Johnny is in there too.
Yep, it's just all great stuff that everyone who came after just built on it.
Yep, correct. All right, as always, thank you for listening to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. If you follow me on social media, I post the episodes there. And if you're friends with my dad, then just shoot him an email and he could send me an episode directly to your inbox. As always, if you appreciate what we do, then leave a tip in the Ko-Fi tip jar. And as always, remember, the more you interact with the video, the higher chance we have of being seen on the YouTube homepage. Thank you for listening to our Chuck Berry trilogy. I don't know if we're ever going to have another artist where we do 3 parts. Maybe. We'll find out when we get there. But as always, thank you for listening to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. We'll be back next time with another album to nitpick and gripe about. Dad, anything you want to say before we sign off to conclude this triptych, if you will?
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening to all of this. I really appreciate it.
We worked really hard on this.
And call me blasphemous, but I'm going to say it. Chuck Berry is the true king of rock and roll.
Agreed.